Good evening, I'm Joe Ginger. I was born and raised in Canton, Illinois. International Harvester influenced everyone which lived in Canton and the surrounding area. International Harvester owned 33 acres in the heart of Canton. At one time, it employed 2,300 people. As far as the history goes back over 150 years on these grounds. The International Harvester bought the 33 acres in 1919. IH closed its plant on October the 31st, 1983. But Canton did not give up and make it a ghost town. The city officials and the people worked very hard to overcome the handicaps and hardships. Since 1983, CIC, Canton Industrial Corporation, as well as others, occupied some of the buildings, along with Canton Tire Recycling Corporation, which had several 100,000 tires in there at one time. In 1995, all the tires were removed. Many people believe that if these tires were still in International Harvester's old building during this fire, that the entire city of Canton would have had to have been evacuated. The fire started on August the 6th, 1997 at approximately 4 a.m. There were 24 fire departments providing assistance and 25,000 feet of fire hose strung. There were between 3.5 and 4 million gallons of water used, and as the fire went on, you could see in the faces of many curiosity, but in others, memories of yesteryear. Now to the fire footage.
Time 1 year to August 6th, 1997. The time is 5:10 a.m. Kevin Stevenson provided our first live coverage from the fire scene as he reports by cellular telephone and describes what he sees.
It would appear to be around 100 feet into the air, and straight ahead of me on First Avenue are a variety of emergency vehicles. They are situated in front or thereabouts of Sunset Manor, and I heard you say, or I heard on the scanner a little bit ago that, and I heard you talk as well, that they are asking people to be ready to evacuate. And the flames, very bright. Again, they're shooting up in the main area. Those who are familiar with the old Harvester plant, the warehouse area, which is the building that's, 6 or 7 stories tall, appears to be the area that is the most engulfed in flames. I heard you use the description a little while ago of it skyrocketing, and that's the way the flames seem to be shooting up. There's no wind. It's a plume of dark smoke going straight up into the air, and now the flames seem to be growing a little bit more as I'm blocked by some of the buildings here, but it's a very bright orange flame. A lot of sparks going into the air as that plume of smoke goes, it appears to be thousands of feet in the air now. The emergency crews in Canton have the streets blocked off very well, and I don't know what more to describe it other than this is a major, major fire, and it appears to be confined. I'll give people an idea also. It looks like not familiar with the exact description of some of these buildings, but I would call it the watchtower part of the warehouse at the south end of the tall part. It does not appear to be that much engulfed in flames. Now, most of the flames appear to be closer to the Elm Street side. So, Brad, that's what we look at now, and it is a major fire, obviously, but we'll stay in touch and try to get things going as soon as we can from out at the site.
Kevin, are you hearing any explosions?
No. Right now I'm sitting at the location of 2nd and... I can't tell exactly. 2nd and Elm, it would appear. And no, there are no explosions here. Very little sounds with it. Of course, the emergency crews are keeping people as far away as possible because I know they are concerned with what might be in the vicinity of the fire.
Really a terrifying situation, wouldn't you say?
Well, it appears to be. From where I am, everybody seems to be calm, and it would look like it is confined to that one major portion of the building, but a fire of this magnitude looks like it could spread very easily in a short period of time. And I know you've been listening to the scanner, so have I. Crews are all over the place, and they're containing it as best they could, but I'm not a firefighter, but this looked like it'd be an awfully tough fire to contain.
Okay, Kevin, we'll hear from you again pretty soon.
Very good.
That's Kevin Stevenson driving into Canton and talking about the International Harvester Fire.
You're listening to a special program looking back at the IH fire in Canton that occurred 1 year ago today.
Directly south of the plant, and in front of me is the vacant area, which used to be a storage area for some of the implements they would build. I have an excellent view of the warehouse area, and the entire southeast portion of the building has collapsed. I heard on the scanner a little while ago that the fire crews were saying to get people away because that side of the building was about to collapse. It has now. On the east side of the building, there is a little bit of the wall that extends up. I can't remember. I believe that's about a 5-story warehouse, and there is a portion of the wall on the east side that is still up. However, the entire southeast portion of the building has collapsed, and it looks like this one almost looks like a steeple that is remaining of the wall on the east side of the building is still standing, but it looks like it's precarious. And you asked me a moment ago, Brad, if I saw any explosions. I didn't. However, about a minute ago, right before we came on with this report, there was even though you did not hear an explosion, there was a quick shot of flames that went into the air. Now, of course, those who are familiar with it know there's the metal water tower there, and I would guess that that's probably around 115, 120 feet high, and when this bunch of flames shot straight up, it went well beyond the top of that, although that's subsided now. But again, with no wind, the flames are shooting straight up, although they don't appear to be as tall overall now as what they were when I checked in a little while ago. I look at the fire department crews. There are plumes of water coming out from their pumper trucks all over, and the fire is still raging at this time, although here again, I'm not a firefighter, but it would look to be contained to that warehouse area. However, that was a very large area of the plant. The, for lack of a better term, the watchtower that extended on several stories above the warehouse is still standing. There do not appear to be flames within that, but there do appear to be flames on the north side of that, and the flames also are away from the metal water tower that is at the southwest portion of the building.
Okay, Kevin, we'll check in again with you pretty soon.
We'll be there.
The scene out there this morning, and also we should stress to folks not to be kind of a sightseeing type of thing this morning, really to stay away from those areas more than anything. They're stressing that this morning.
That's right, Leon. As I drove to the David O'Brien Public Safety Building, trying to get some information here from headquarters, I noticed some people setting up lawn chairs pretty close to the scene, so please don't do that. Don't hinder any kind of emergency crews. They're setting up barricades to try to avoid that, but some of the crews have been beaten by some people wanting to sightsee. Stay at your house and listen to us. We'll get the latest information for you. I can tell you that I now know the call came in to the headquarters at 4:03 this morning. A fire call came in, according to Police Sergeant Dean Putman, and he said that right now, crews from miles around are here helping out the Canton Fire Department, including Buckhart, Copperas Creek. All those volunteer fire departments around are pitching in and helping out. It's a major fire in downtown Canton. And Sergeant Putman also told me that while they were evacuating the residents from Sunset Manor, they had a traffic accident in front of there. So things aren't going well for the Canton police this morning. But he didn't tell me any more than that about that situation. But I can tell you I'm standing out in front of the Public Safety Building right now, and they're going to have a statement in just a little bit. They're hoping for Fire Chief Michael Jackson to call in and have something for us to report to you. As I'm looking up at the sky, I can see an orange hue over the tops of the houses across the street from the O'Brien Public Safety Building, and the smoke is making a horseshoe right now up in the sky. It's coming up from the Harvester Building and coming over the sky and back down on the other side of the city. So you can smell it if you step out your door right now.
Brad, for the scene right now, is a lot of the major part of the fire on the area that would be running along the Elm Street area, and also pretty close to maybe Locust, or pretty close to that area. Do you know to the extent of what area we're talking about, the International Harvester Plant area there?
Leon, to give you some indication, what I saw when I came in down 5th Avenue, I was looking at the building itself, and Elm Street, they hadn't actually even blocked that yet, so I don't think the offices there are in fire right now. But I can tell you, a lot of people will remember the big clock tower type structure of the International Harvester Plant that said International Harvester on the bricks. Fire is climbing up that clock tower as we speak. Reporting live from the David O'Brien Public Safety Building in Canton, I'm Brad Choate for WBYF.
If he comes up and gets me up, and that's when I knew something was going on somewhere.
And from what we understand, the fire at that point, soon after it started, was so hot that you couldn't really stand out here in the yard.
No, after a couple minutes out here, we would go back in because, yeah, it was shooting up, like I say, almost as high as the building was there in the front.
Canton Police Chief Mike Elam is here, and maybe we can get a quick chat with him. And as the fire continues, the flames aren't nearly as high for the most part as they had been a little bit earlier, but the fire is still warm now. As we said, we're within about 100 yards of the old warehouse building. We can still feel the heat, and as Ken Wilson said, when the fire started raging shortly after 4 o'clock, it was so hot out here that they couldn't stand it. Mike Elam, the Canton Police Chief, is here. Mike, a day in Canton that will be remembered for a long time, and this is a major fire.
It is a major fire, and we're asking residents to please stay away from this area. We've got an accident with injuries on pedestrians on 2nd Avenue right now, and we need their cooperation.
That oftentimes happens, doesn't it, when you get an event like this? People are watching what's going on and not watching the street.
That's true. In fact, I'm surprised we haven't had a policeman ran over because they're watching the fire so intensely they're not paying attention to squad cars or people directing traffic.
There was some talk earlier there might have to be an evacuation of an area around the plant. What's the status on that?
We went door to door on 2nd Avenue, or correction, Walnut Street. Then we went over to around Billy's Tap and got those people out. We've been notifying the railroad. We've notified Dr. Day. His office is close. We're asking people if they need a place to go until this thing's contained to go up to the police station, and we'll try to make them comfortable up there.
The warehouse structure now, the watchtowers at the north and south end are all that remain, along with a few walls. What's it look like where the fire has gone? It looks like a little bit to the north as well.
Well, from what I can see, and I haven't talked directly to the fire chief for a while now, they're letting the main structure here burn itself out and trying to contain the one that it's into now. And I think that's the biggest problem they have now. We're lucky we have no wind today, which is putting the smoke straight up, so that's really helped us a lot.
Tremendous response from a lot of other area agencies.
Yeah, we've had a lot of help. There's every mutual aid agreement has been called in with the fire department. We've had assistance from other police agencies, and right now it seems to be going pretty well.
Any final thoughts of things that you could recommend to people? I know sightseers, people like to see this kind of thing, but it doesn't help your efforts any.
Yeah, again, I'm emphasizing that we would ask that the people do stay out of here. We have put out a call to all the local media that we're staging an area for the media now at 4th and Maple. We have an officer there. He'll meet with the media and give them what we can at this point. But we have a tower, the elevator shaft tower, still standing over here. And if that goes, it could go a long ways with bricks.
Mike, we'll let you go. Thank you. That's Mike Elam, Canton Police Chief, as one of the sheriff's officials are wanting to talk with Mike now. And as Mike said, it's the elevator area. That's what we've been calling the watchtower area. They are concerned if that would go. And Ken Wilson, come on back down here a second. It looks like that wall along the south portion of the warehouse, the wall that's still remaining, is leaning precariously to the left, and that's something we'll have to keep an eye on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like he was talking earlier, it would seem like about one room or whatever you want to call it, level or something that was going down at a time. It didn't all go down, just slowly a little bit at each time. But so far, no big, like you say, whole structure is gone. And like you say, that tower, hopefully it'll stay up there.
Well, thank you very much, Ken Wilson. You've seen it from the start.
Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot, Kevin.
That's Ken Wilson here at 225 South 4th Avenue, which is just on the east side of 4th Avenue from the warehouse structure. As we said, we're within 100 yards of it. You can still feel the heat on your body as you stand here facing it, although nothing like what it was earlier, as Ken Wilson and his father, Jasper Wilson, were telling us that when the fire was raging at its utmost, you couldn't stand out here in your yard. As Jasper said, it gives his house a good sunburn. So as Mike Elam said, they have set up a media area at the intersection of 4th and Maple, which just is about a block south of where we are. We are going to move our equipment from this location now down to that area. We should have more access to public officials. And remember just a moment ago as we were telling you how the fire looked as though, for the most part, it was in the warehouse area, which Mike Elam said they're going to let contain itself. Now that area, which runs parallel to 4th Avenue, is becoming more and more engulfed in flames, and apparently that long, it's about a one-story structure that extends all the way up almost to Elm Street is apparently full of fire inside, or it would appear. I'm saying that only because I see white smoke billowing from the building about even 50 or 60 yards on north of the end of it. So fire is apparently in there. They still have fire hoses trained on that area. And this smoke that earlier in the warehouse area was more of a grayish white smoke, the smoke now billowing from the fire at the south end of this building that runs along 4th Avenue parallel to it is a very thick black smoke. And as Mike Elam, the Canton police chief, said, there is not much wind, in fact no wind this morning, and that's helping the efforts considerably. But anyway, they have fire hoses trained on that. The black smoke continues to billow. It looks as though it's the fire is moving more towards the north end of the International Harvester structure. So we are going to shut down our operations here at 225 South 4th. We are going to move about a block south to the 4th and Maple intersection, where hopefully we'll have even more access to some public officials. But the story today in Fulton County, the fire at the old International Harvester plant. From 225 South 4th Avenue, Kevin Stevenson, WBYS News.
Morning, WBYS FM at 107.9 in Canton, Illinois. And to say the least, history this morning on this August the 6th of 1987, a Wednesday. A fire of major proportion in the downtown Canton area of the old International Harvester plant building. And the site has been going on since around 4 o'clock this morning. That's when the fire call came in. Brad Choate is standing by, and another of our perspective, where you're located out there this morning, Brad.
Leon, we're looking at what we can describe for folks as Building 64 and 62 in the industrial side of the old International Harvester plant, fully engulfed with flames right now. Big, thick, black and gray smoke coming out of the building as we speak. And I'm at East Maple Street right now, 4th and Maple. And standing by with me, longtime Canton Fire Chief Bob Dorenzi. He retired last year. And Bob, describe the scene for us from your perspective.
Well, you know, we got a lot of black smoke. We've either got kerosene or fuel oil in there burning. This was over on 4th Avenue. I don't know exactly what's in there, but stuff lost was in there with sandblasting equipment. The old warehouse is gone, cleared down to the ground. All that's left is a portion of a couple of walls. I hope they can get enough water on this building here on 4th Avenue to keep it down, because if not, it's going on up toward the Baptist Church and right on up to Elm Street. I don't think they can get enough water on it to put it out. They'll just have to try and keep it cool and keep some water on it, and just have to let it burn out. I'm just so thankful that we got all the tires out there. The EPA and the city and the South, if those tires were still in there, why, they would have to evacuate half of the town.
That's former Canton Fire Chief Bob Slick Dorenzi. And Bob, I have to ask you, obviously when you were chief, there was a plan in mind for this. Tell us what you guys had discussed before, if this ever happened.
Well, the first thing we would have done with the tires in here was start evacuating. We talked about evacuating like a half a block or half a mile all around this CIC. Then if it's going to do that, we would have evacuated the whole town. There's so many substances in tires, fuel oil, and just everything in tires that would have gotten the city drains, you know, with the water being squirted on it. So, yeah, we would probably ended up evacuating the whole town.
We know Chief Michael Jackson has said this was one of his main concerns. Was this always a big worry for you, too?
Oh, yeah, always a big worry. And, you know, when the tires were all in here, people were disgusted with the EPA and the city and everyone for letting the tires be stored down here. And I'm surprised that it wasn't set on fire way before now by an angry citizen. You can't believe the letters I got when I was chief from different people, even from people from Pekin, complaining about the tires. Other people were complaining because we didn't have work here, and if we'd have had more tires in here, they said we'd have had work. So there was pros and cons all along with it.
That's former Canton Fire Chief Bob Slick Dorenzi down at 4th and Maple. We're watching the building burn right now. And I can tell you that there was also an accident associated outside the fire, people coming out to see what happened. It was over by Sunset Manor. And I talked to a few witnesses just moments ago, and they said it wasn't a nice scene. They said two people were hit by a car, and one man laying on the ground, another person injured as well, and they're being transported to Graham Hospital. We don't know anything about their medical condition, but we'll try to track that down. So please As you heard Leon keep saying, don't go out and gawk at this. Don't try to get as close as you can. Listen to us here at WBYS. We have a command post set up, and we'll be hearing the latest information from the fire and police officials as it comes down the pike. So please don't try to get close to it. You're only setting yourself up for injury from other pedestrians.
Hey, Kay, Brad, before I let you go there, we had a caller, and we talked about the site coming in this morning when you were coming in, and Kevin and I, the orange hue in the sky and everything, and it was shooting up in this area. We had a caller from Galesburg, I don't know if you heard that they say that they can view it from that area of Knox County, from the Galesburg this morning. So a lot of folks, as you're waking up out there wondering what's going on, you might kind of recap when that fire call came in this morning. We understand it was a little after 4 o'clock. We had that confirmed, right?
That's correct. 4:03, the call time from the Canton Police Department.
And to the extent we talked about an area, a lot of folks, I guess if you had not worked in the old International Harvester Plant building, we had a caller let us know that we were, trying to piece things together, what areas of the plant we're talking about. But if it's the old building 64 and 62 and the industrial site, and it's the elevator shaft that we were referring to a little bit ago. So to kind of clarify that kind of situation, what about as you see now? What's sort of the sky look at this time? Because we're past that period right now where the sun already has risen in our listening area this morning.
What I can describe it right now, Leon, is if you've ever seen a description of a volcano on TV, where the flames come up from the bottom of the volcano, and you can see the orange there. On top of the flames that are orange, you can see black and gray smoke. It's kind of a parallel, it's kind of split down the middle. You can see gray to the left, black to the right, up on top of these orange flames.
We had at least a while ago that they were already starting to evacuate at least some areas of the Sunset Manor and around also Walnut and Elm. Have you caught any drift of anywhere else that they're kind of closing off to the public and trying to get folks out of those areas?
Police Chief Mike Elam said the people that they thought would be most effective, they went door to door and they told them to get out of their homes. So that was about a 2-block radius from the plant here in downtown Canton. One other thing that's important to point out, I see this, and I haven't heard anybody talk about this yet. I see some railroad cars next to it. Don't know what is in these railroad cars. One looks like a flatbed, so obviously nothing in that. But there's a tanker over here, too. And more likely than not, that tanker is empty. But I don't know whether they've sprayed those down or not, but I don't see anything happening with the rail cars.
We understand Kevin's going to be setting up pretty close to you there. And you're on, 4th and Maple?